Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Vidarbha Desha, there was a great king of Vidarbha named Bhima. Now Bhima had no children, and he went and as the kings used to do in those days, he went to a rishi to take his blessings. There was a rishi called Damana who blessed him, and after that the king Bhima had 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter. The 3 sons were named as Dama, Danta and Damana. Okay. Damana itself means control, actually. Danta means mind control. All are control. Dama, Danta, Damana. Essentially internal control, but control, controlling your mind, conquering your senses. All this is what is Danta, Danti, Damaya, Dama. It can also be external. Damana can also be external, conquering an enemy. Damana. These are the 3 sons and 1 girl, Damayanti. Damayanti Turupena. And what a girl? Damayanti Turupena Tejasa Yashasa Shriya Saubhagyena Talokeshu Yasha Prapa Sumadhyama. She was the most beautiful girl in the world. Rupena Tejasa Yashasa Shriya, in terms of her beauty, in terms of her sheer glory and radiance, in all ways, in terms of her Saubhagya. She was well known to everybody that Damayanti, the daughter of Vidarbha king. And she had just entered into Yuvavastha, just entered into the youth. Young girl, the most beautiful in the world, daughter of the greatest king, and she had hundreds of sakhis, friends, girls, all surrounding her. All of them were princes of the lands. Friends means what? All of them were also all beautiful. All of them were also always well dressed, well decked, all with good ornaments, all young, all around. And are surrounded by them, she apparently looked like lightning surrounded by monsoon clouds. She was so blazing even among them. That's how she was, says Bharatam. Ativa Rupa Sampanna Sririvayata Lochana Na Deveshu Na Yaksheshu Tradrugrupavati Kochit. Just so that you understand how beautiful she was. Yeah, Sririvayata Lochana. Her eyes were like Mahalakshmi. He had Mahalakshmi's eyes. And not among Devas, not among Yakshas or any other Kinnaras or any other was there ever a girl who was as beautiful as Damayanti. She was the most beautiful girl in the world. Nala. Nalascha narashardulo lokeshva pratimo bhuvi kandarpa ivarupena murtimana bhavat swayam. You think Nala's handsomeness was incomparable in the world? He was as if Kandarpa, that is, who is Kandarpa? Is Manmata, the Cupid. He himself had taken form and come on the earth. He was like that. So here were the most handsome man in the world, the most beautiful girl in the world. And at that time, we'll bring in now into the picture and just partake a bit of it, and then we'll continue after that. Another great treatise of Sanskrit called Naishadhiya Charitam. That is this one. That is here. This is part 1. It's in 2 parts. This is a story of Nala and Damayanti, written by Sri Harsha. This is one of the Pancha Mahakavyas of Sanskrit. This is an incomparable book of poetry. We'll come to it a little bit later about Pancha Mahakavya aspect. Now, in Naishadhiya Charitam, the author is Sri Harsha. Sri Harsha says about Nala, which woman of beauty was there who did not see him in her dreams? Who did not constantly think of him? Who did not blurt out his name time and again without realizing suddenly Nala there? Girls are saying. Okay? Who did not feel the pangs of deep love for him? Okay. Now, this is a book, a masterpiece in romance, actually. We have seen a lot of death and killing and all that. So, Nalcharitram to begin with, we will see a lot of romance. And talking of Damayanti, he says, she was called Damayanti because she did Damana, she conquered. She conquered what? She conquered the pride of all the beautiful women in all three worlds. She was so beautiful, she simply smashed the pride of all the other beautiful women. Heaven and earth and Patalam. You'll say, who is the beautiful girl in Patalam? Ulupi was there, for example. Right? So this girl was Damayanti. She smashed their own sense of vanity. Dhanya sivaidharbi gunairudaraihi yaya samakrisya naishadopi itah stuti ka khalu chandrika yayadabdhim apyuttarali karoti. Now, he says, blessed is Vidarbha Kumari. Now, we are going a little bit fast forward to get to this Upama. Actually, it comes a little bit later, but we are coming it a little bit earlier. He says, blessed is Vidarbha Kumari, because what did she do? He says, let's take the deep, majestic ocean. The ocean is massive. It's deep, it's majestic, it's calm. It's absolutely still, actually, in the deeps. But when the full moon comes, it stirs the ocean. And it makes it waves and tide and all that. Like that, this deep, majestic, calm Nala, by the full moon that he had not even seen, that Vaidarbhi, that girl in Vidarbha, she made him ruffled. She caused disturbance in his mind. Okay. You are shaken, says Naishadiyam. Okay. Now, Panchamaha we said, all Kavyas, the Adi Kavya is Ramayana. That's Adi Kavya. Then there are Panchamaha, which are which are considered the greatest works of poetry in Sanskrit. Two of them, Kalidasas. Kumar Sambhava and Raghuvamsha. Kiratarjuniyam is the story of Arjuna and Shiva in the forest when they fought, when Shiva came as a hunter. Shishupala Vada is the slaying of Shishupala by Krishna in the Rajasuya Yajnam, a masterpiece. And Naishadiyam is the story of Nala and Damayanti. All three have their basis in Mahabharata. And the first two, Kumar Sambhava and Raghuvamsha, Ramayana of Kalidasa. Now Naishadam, if you take the Srimad Bhagavatam is called Vidvatam Bhagavate Pariksha. This is for the learned people. If you have to be considered learned, for learned people, Bhagavatam is an examination. Yeah, you cannot just be a person who knows Bhagavatam. You cannot. It's not like that. People spend, lifetime. It is tough. You should be a master of many things. Grammar, word, everything. It's not easy. It's a pariksha. Naishadam is called Naishadam Vidvat Aushadam. Aushadam means it's a medicine. When you are they come here to heal. The Vidwans, they come and they feel much better. As if you got blood pressure and you're taking the tablet, suddenly you feel cool. Like that. Aushadam. Punyashloko Nalo Raja, Punyashloko Yudhishthira, Punyashloka Tuvaidehi Chavaidehi, Punyashloko Janardana. So he is Pratah Smaraniya. He is of such great qualities. He is supreme in Rupa, in form, in Guna, in qualities, in Samriddhi, in prosperity, in Bala, in strength, in Vaibhava, in his glory, in Prabhava, in his effect, in his Kanti, in his Shobha, in his Udarata, in his Virata, in his Dhanashilata, in his being able to know all this, he is supreme. Does not praise himself. He is equal to slander and praise from others. He is in every way. He is very, very. He is a man of great self-respect. He is a man of great dignity. He is handsome and he is eligible, we said. Varanarinam ipsita. All the women fall for him. That's what we said about. And he had his right match somewhere in the world in the form of Damayanti, whose name itself signified that her beauty conquered the pride of all other beautiful women in any of the three worlds. That's where we were. And we said that Nalopakhyanam has been the basis of inspiration of a great work, a Mahakavya called Naishadhiyam by Sri Harsha, and which is known as Vidvat Aushadham, a medicine for scholars, because scholars are suffering. What are they suffering? Scholarship. So for them, what is the medicine? Naishadhiyam. Say, oh my God, now this is something. Now this is something. So they will be lost in it. In the joy of Naishadhiyam. And what is the pradhana rasa in Naishadhiya Charitam? Shringara rasa. So, over the next few storytelling sessions, we will be with Naishadhiyam looking at Nalacharitram. So you will have a little bit of a dose of Shringara rasam, which you have to understand is one of the rasas of Indian tradition, and very openly, beautifully brought into poetry. In not just Naishadhiyam. Naishadhiyam is the pinnacle of it, but any which way in our this thing. So there we were. So we said Naishadam, Vidvat, Aushadham, and learning, traditional learning of any student in India was considered incomplete if he had not studied Naishadam. So let's dwell a bit on the story of Sri Harsha and then we'll continue. Sri Harsha is the author of Naishadam. He was somewhere in the 12th century, that is 11 something AD. 1000 years or what? Around. Before. He was the son of a court pandit of Kashi called Sri Hir, and his mother's name was Mamalla Devi. His father was a famous poet in the court of a Kashi king called Jayanta Chandra. Jayanta Chandra, that was the father, that was his king's name. And his father was a court poet, and as it happened, people come, there are debates, there are competitions, etc. And there was another court poet who came and he defeated Sri Hira. And Sri Hira had to lose openly in court in front of the king, and that is, for a scholar, you can imagine what a deep hurt it was for him. So, as it happened, when his last moments came, when he was dying, after that his life was like not there. So he was dying, and then he requested his son that he must avenge. You must avenge my defeat at the hands of this person. There was his young boy, Harsha. And so he left Kashi, he went looking for knowledge, he learned all aspects of knowledge, the Vedas, the Vedangas, Alankara, Kavya, all the Shastras, Ganita, Jyotisha, Vyakarana, all that is there now. So it takes normal human beings, it will take 12-14 years to learn. Harsha is learning. He learned all of that. Grammar, Veda, astrology, the aesthetics, beauty of words, the meaning of the Veda, all the different aspects of traditional learning that are there, he learnt.